Hello, everyone. Welcome to Celsius 233, your go-to place for fiction book summaries. Today we will unravel the story within The Angel of the Odd by Edgar Allan Poe. The Angel of the Odd by Edgar Allan Poe is a darkly humorous short story first published in 1844. The tale unfolds in the first-person narrative, where the protagonist, an unnamed man, finds himself in a series of bizarre and unfortunate events after dismissing the occurrence of strange accidents. The story blends Poe's characteristic macabre elements with a satirical tone, showcasing his skill in both horror and comedy. Plot summary. On a cold November afternoon, the narrator indulges in a hearty meal and a variety of wines, feeling rather lethargic and dull. To pass the time, he reads a newspaper, his attention caught by a peculiar article about a man in London who died in an absurd accident while playing a game called Puff the Dart. The man had mistakenly inhaled a needle through a tube, lodging it in his lungs, leading to his untimely death. The narrator scoffs at the story, dismissing it as a fabrication meant to deceive the gullible. He considers himself far too intelligent to believe in such odd accidents, declaring that he will never accept the reality of anything strange or improbable again. As he smugly reflects on his wisdom, he is startled by a strange voice rebuking his skepticism. Looking around, he sees no one. To his astonishment, a bizarre figure appears before him. This being has a body shaped like a wine cask, with bottles for arms and a head resembling a large canteen. The entity introduces itself as the Angel of the Odd, a supernatural force responsible for the strange accidents and coincidences that the narrator so adamantly dismisses. The narrator, taken aback and slightly inebriated, is puzzled by this apparition but remains defiant. The Angel of the Odd chastises the narrator for his disbelief in the peculiarities of life, warning him of the consequences of his skepticism. The angel's speech is riddled with a strange accent, further adding to the narrator's confusion. Despite the angel's warnings, the narrator remains dismissive and contemptuous, refusing to believe in the existence of such an absurd being. The angel, offended by this lack of faith, vows to show the narrator the folly of his disbelief. With this, the angel departs, leaving the narrator in an uneasy state. Soon, the narrator's life begins to unravel in a series of increasingly bizarre and unfortunate events. He falls asleep in his armchair, intending to nap for a short while before attending an important appointment with the insurance company. When he awakens, he realizes he has overslept and missed the meeting, all because the clock had stopped working. On closer inspection, he discovers that one of the raisin stems he had been idly flicking around during his conversation with the angel had lodged into the clock's mechanism, causing it to stop. Annoyed but dismissing it as a mere coincidence, he goes to bed, unaware of the greater misfortunes awaiting him. During the night, the narrator's sleep is disturbed by terrifying dreams of the Angel of the Odd, threatening him with a torrent of Kirschenwasser, a type of cherry brandy. He awakens to find that his house is on fire, likely caused by a candle left burning after he fell asleep. In a panic, he escapes through the window, but in his haste, he falls and fractures his arm. He also loses his hair in the blaze, adding to his misfortunes. This sequence of accidents shakes him, but does not yet break his spirit. Desiring to change his luck, the narrator decides to pursue marriage, thinking a stable domestic life might bring him some peace. He sets his sights on a wealthy widow who is mourning the loss of her seventh husband. The narrator courts her with earnestness, and she eventually agrees to marry him. However, during a meeting with her, his wig becomes entangled with her hair in an embarrassing incident. As he tries to disentangle himself, the wig comes off, revealing his baldness caused by the fire. The widow, horrified and affronted, ends their engagement on the spot. His hopes of a comfortable married life are dashed in an instant, and he blames this disaster on an unfortunate coincidence. Still undeterred, the narrator attempts to woo another lady. This time, fortune seems to favor him for a while, but once again, a trivial incident ruins his efforts. While attempting to greet his betrothed in a crowded avenue, a speck lodges itself in his eye, blinding him momentarily. By the time he regains his sight, the lady has taken offense at what she perceives as his deliberate snub and storms off in a huff. Bewildered and upset by this seemingly random misfortune, the narrator finds himself at a loss. In this moment of despair, the Angel of the Odd reappears, offering to help with his eye irritation. He claims that the narrator has a drop in his eye and proceeds to remove it, bringing relief. The narrator, realizing the futility of resisting the angel's influence, begins to accept that his life is now governed by the whims of this strange being. Deciding that he has nothing left to lose, the narrator contemplates ending his life. He walks to a river, intending to drown himself and end his suffering. Just as he is about to throw himself in, a crow swoops down and steals his clothes, forcing him to chase after the bird. In his pursuit, he runs blindly and inadvertently throws himself off a cliff. By a stroke of luck, or perhaps irony, he manages to grab onto the guide rope of a passing hot air balloon. He clings to it desperately, hanging between life and death. Looking up, the narrator is horrified to see that the balloon is being piloted by the Angel of the Odd. The angel, lazily puffing on a pipe, looks down at the narrator with a mixture of amusement and indifference. The narrator, too exhausted to plead, can only watch as the angel toys with him. The angel offers him a bottle, which he drops onto the narrator's head. The impact leaves the narrator dazed, believing his brains have been knocked out. Just as he prepares to let go and fall to his death, the angel asks if he has learned his lesson. Desperate and defeated, the narrator nods in agreement, admitting belief in the possibility of the odd and in the angel's power. The angel then demands a token of submission, but with his arm broken and no proper clothing to comply, the narrator shakes his head, indicating his inability to obey. The angel, unimpressed, cuts the rope, sending the narrator plummeting back to earth. By a twist of fate, the narrator crashes through the chimney of his own house, landing amidst the remnants of his dinner. Bruised and disoriented, he lies in the wreckage, surrounded by broken glass, spilled wine, and shattered bottles. He has been returned to the very place where his ordeal began, humbled and changed by his encounter with the Angel of the Odd. That's a wrap, but the journey doesn't end. Explore more books by Edgar Allan Poe. You'll find the details in the description or on Celsius 233. Remember, while our summaries capture the essence, they can never replace the full experience of reading the book. If this summary intrigued you, consider diving into the complete story, buy the book, and immerse yourself in Edgar Allan Poe's original work. Bye-bye, take care, have fun.